Spoken in a hushed, tense, and increasingly frantic tone. Have you ever brought something into your home that just felt wrong? Something that made the quiet moments feel a little too quiet, and the dark corners seem a little too dark. I need to tell you what happened because I don't know what else to do. It all started with a doll. I found it at a small, cluttered antique shop, tucked away on a dusty shelf. The woman who sold it to me, she had this strange, hurried energy. She wouldn't meet my eyes, not even for a second. When I asked about its history, she just mumbled that it belonged to her daughter, who didn't live here anymore. The way she said it sent a shiver down my spine. But I was fascinated by the doll's porcelain face, an old-fashioned lace dress. I paid her and took it home, thinking it was just a unique find. I was so wrong. That first night I was woken up by a sound. It was a faint, wooden creaking like old floorboards settling. But it wasn't coming from the floor. It sounded like it was coming from the shelf where I'd placed the doll. I sat up in bed, my heart thumping. Through the sliver of moonlight coming from my window, the doll's porcelain face seemed to have an eerie, almost ethereal glow. I told myself I was just imagining things, my mind playing tricks on me in the dead of night. I eventually fell back asleep, but the feeling of being watched never quite left me. The next night, I decided to test my theory. Was I going crazy, or was something actually happening? I set up my phone on my nightstand, pointed it directly at the shelf, and hit record before I went to sleep. I wanted proof. When I woke up the next morning, the first thing I did was check the footage. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary for hours, just me sleeping. But then, as I scrubbed through the timeline, I saw it. A tiny, almost imperceptible shift, the doll's head. It had turned, just slightly. It's just enough to be angled more towards the camera, more towards me. My blood ran cold. This wasn't my imagination. The third night, things escalated. I was jolted awake by a loud crash. My phone, which had been on my nightstand, was now on the floor. The screen cracked. And lying right beside it, as if it had knocked it over, was the doll. It was no longer on the shelf across the room. It was right next to my bed, its glass eyes staring straight up into the lens of the still-wrecked camera. I didn't even check the footage. I just scrambled out of bed, snatched the doll, ran outside, and threw it into the dumpster at the end of my street. I slammed the lid shut, sprinted back inside, locked my front door, and even wedged a chair under the knob. I spent the rest of the night with all the lights on, huddled on my couch, shaking. I thought that was the end of it. I really did. The next evening, I finally felt safe enough to go back into my bedroom. My heart stopped. There it was, sitting perfectly upright on the shelf, right where I had first put it. The chair was still wedged under my front door. All the windows were locked. There was no way for it or anyone to have gotten in. But this time, it wasn't facing me. It was facing the window, as if it were looking out at something, or waiting for something. Last night, I gave up on sleeping. I decided I had to see it for myself. Sat on the edge of my bed, lights off, my phone recording again, and just watched it. For hours, nothing happened. The silence in the room was deafening. Then I heard it again, that slow, twisting, wooden creak. I didn't take my eyes off the doll as its head began to turn. Inch by agonizing inch, it rotated on its neck until it was looking directly at me. The sound echoed through the room, a horrible, unnatural sound of wood grinding against porcelain. I recorded the whole thing. I finally had definitive proof. This morning, with trembling hands, I played back the video. And that's when I saw it. The video shows me sitting on the bed, staring at the doll on the shelf. It shows the doll's head slowly turning to face me. But that's not all. In the video right behind me, in the dark space between my back and the wall, someone else was standing, a shadowy figure, and they were holding the doll.
Yes.
If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more unsettling tales, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching, and stay safe.